an athletic career that spans more than 5 decades. Mike Sands has fulfilled the role as a fan, an athlete, and a champion for change within the world of track and field, both locally and internationally. Bahamas Athletics Today sat down for a one-on-one interview with President Sands, talking about his new role as NACAC new president and so much more. Welcome, Mr. Sands. We're here at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium, and also it's the new home of the NACAC head office. What's your thoughts on that, having this stadium named after someone who laid the track for everyone in track and field in the country?
Well, thanks for having me. First of all, it's an honor to be sitting in this edifice that is named after the pioneer, we would say, of track and field, or the real godfather of track and field in the Bahamas, the late, great Thomas Augustus Robinson. And it gives me very fond memories every time I walk into this area, because it's a good memorial tribute to his legacy, what he has contributed to put the Bahamas on the world stage, and we're all reaping the benefit of that today.
So as we mentioned, you are the new NACAC president. You are responsible for 31 federations. What was your inspiration to take that mantle on the international level?
Well, you know, I've been involved in the sport from an athlete to the present day for almost 50 years, actually, and 51 years to be exact. And I think I've done it all, between an athlete and an administrator with the B3As and the Olympic Committee. And so I just thought the timing was right to be able to put my hat in the ring for the next level, which is obviously the area representation. And I'm very fortunate that the membership, 31 voting members and 36 members all told, saw and had the confidence and reposed the confidence in me to take them through the next term. And so I'm looking forward to the excitement of what that position brings.
We know this is the second time in the history of NACAC that the office is being held in an English-speaking country, with our neighbor Jamaica being the first. Can you talk a little bit about your campaign process? Because obviously we are in the Latin America, so the language barriers, and what were some of the things that you campaigned on and what you talked about and you wanted to hear from the federations to bring to life for NACAC?
Yeah, well, I went to all as many as I can. I wouldn't say all, as many of the countries that I was able to go during the campaign, particularly the Central American countries. And I termed it a listening tour, because I really wanted to hear from them what their concerns were and how I could contribute to bringing their concerns into reality or into fruition. And I heard a lot and I listened a lot. And I was able to, I had my campaign built already, but I wanted to add more to it and to go to the constituents to find out what their concerns are. And having heard that, I was able to formulate that into the strategic plan that they bought into. And so now it's for me to deliver what I promised.
What were some of the things in which you promised?
Well, more inclusion was one for sure, good governance. And one of the big pillars was also more events, because we're in the business of track and field. And there was a cry for more events within the area. As you know, a lot of our athletes perform in Europe, and the top athletes in our region are from our area, the top performing athletes on the world stage. But unfortunately, there's not sufficient track meets throughout our area to cause them to want to compete within our area. It's a business now, it's finances, so it's finding the right sponsors to be able to do these things. And I'm pleased to say that we are on the right track, that we are having some progressive talks with persons that are interested in the same common vision that I have and that my executive have, and that is to make the area a prime area for a circuit. And so I think you will see that happening in very, very short order. Unfortunately, COVID derailed some of those plans, because we did have one already planned for this year. So now we have to go back to the drawing board and revamp our strategic plan, as with everything else, to hopefully come back next year even better.
Now, with you mentioning COVID-19 has wreaked havoc and has impacted every aspect of our daily lives, and we now have to adjust to the new norm. Can you talk about some of the things that the federations are doing to adjust to the new norm?
Well, yeah, you know, everything had to be changed. Like I like to say that in our area, we know about hurricanes, we know about snowstorms, and we know about earthquakes. But we have warnings for those, but we had no warning for COVID-19, so we had to adjust on the ground. We had a lot of events planned, seminars planned, competitions planned, and that caused us to have to withdraw or cancel them, if you will. The most painful one, obviously, was the Carifta Games. And so we had to readjust. But what it also did, though, it allowed us to have more communications among ourselves, because the new norm now is Zooming and all that kind of stuff. And so we've been able to become closer as a quote-unquote NACAC family, because of the being forced into the position of having to do everything virtually.
But what are some of the conversation here locally in terms of the COVID-19 pandemic, and what are some of the things that the local clubs and the governing bodies are doing? Because I know we had to postpone, obviously the Olympic Games were postponed for a year due to the pandemic.
Well, again, like I said, the individual member federations have to revisit their own strategic plan. I know that the B3As has had their virtual meetings. They're also in the process of continuing that, and we call it continuing education via Zoom, because, you know, providing information and getting feedback. And there's nothing like the physical aspect of it, but I think everyone is to be commended for the effort that they're putting in to keep the membership motivated, and also to keep them informed, and also to take a step back and revisit their overall strategic plan. Because on the one hand, it's a blessing in disguise, to the extent that it allows you a little bit more time to plan and to fine-tune the things, particularly if there were new events that you were trying to put on the calendar. It now causes you to step back to really revisit the way you would approach it, and I think the B3As is doing the exact same thing.
Along with COVID-19 this year, we also seen a lot of social unrest and social injustice around the world. What is NACAC's position on athletes using their platforms to bring awareness to issues?
Well, you know, I look back in 1968 when the great Tommy Smith and John Carlos took a stand with the fist at the 60th Olympic Games, and they were ostracized and they were thrown out of the Olympic Village, along with Peter Norman from Australia, who was the silver medalist, who was in sympathy with them, and they were sort of ostracized for life. They were just recently reinstated for their actions, and Peter Norman from Australia, he died, but he was given a pardon because of his action. I'm saying that to say that the times are changing, and you know, we have to move with the times. I think athletes look at a platform to perform with their talent, and by the same token, they have a view on how certain things should happen. You cannot ignore it. And let's put it this way: we have to give them the opportunity. I mean, I think everything has to be decently and in order and respectful, but to try to avoid allowing people their freedom of expression, I think will create more problems than you want. And you see what's happening with all the NBA players and have you not. So the platform has to be given for them to be able to express themselves in a sensible and reasonable manner.
What is your thoughts on athletes being responsible in the things that go into their body? Because, you know, doping is I wouldn't say it's a taboo topic, but it's a topic that needs to be addressed within the sport.
Well, I can tell you that World Athletics, the former IAAF, is one of the leading international federations with respect to the zero tolerance for substance abuse, or doping, if you will. At the end of the day, an athlete must be responsible. You cannot use the excuse that you did not know. So at the end of the day, you have to be responsible what goes into your body. The list is very, very extensive, and we always encourage our athletes that even if you're on the level of medication prescribed by your doctor, you should make sure that medication is registered or given to your company doctor, your athletic federation doctor, because your family doctor may not be aware of what is on the banned substance, but the athletic doctor will be aware of that, and so he can look at it and probably prescribe something with similar benefits, but that does not have the banned substances in it. And on that note, we at NACAC have actually instituted a medical commission that is responsible for the doping in terms of education. So their main mandate is to provide education for the athletes and all of the stakeholders. And so they will be having workshops on that as well. And that is headed by Dr. Adrian Loud from Barbados, along with several other persons on the commission, including our Dr. Kerr Miller, who has been appointed to the commission as well.
So now the hard question's out, let's have a little fun. So you've been around for 51 years, so you've seen the sport transition, and you've seen many athletes. So I'm gonna say an event. You can give me a male and a female athlete that comes to mind and who currently is active in the sport. So 400 meters.
Stephen Gardner, Sinead Miller.
All right, 200 meters.
200 meters. You have Noah Lyles, United States, is one of the top runners, of course. And we also have Alison Felix, and again, Shanae Miller comes. We have Elaine Thompson from Jamaica, and we have Shelly Ann Fraser Price from Jamaica.
Some heavy hitters. And most of the names that he called are persons who already are Olympic holders and also made a name for themselves at the Carifta Games, because we all know the Carifta Games is the Olympics of the Caribbean for junior athletes. 100 meters.
Well, we have Johan Blake. We have, and he's still very active. Again, we have the names totally escape me now, but we have our top American sprinters that, well, Justin Gatlin is still very, very active. You know, he just finished his last championship a couple of years ago, but he's talking about coming back again. And so the NACAC area is so full of athletes in terms of their overall performance that has us ranking on the world stage. And I'm very, very proud to be associated with all of them.
And the 4x1 relay, which country comes to mind? Who is still active?
Jamaica. It's always Jamaica, United States. They're always the top performances. Canada usually performs pretty well in the area, and I'm speaking specifically of the NACAC athletes now. So those countries, you always, when you talk about the sprints, of course our area dominates the sprints. And so again, when you talk about the 4x1, you have Jamaica and Canada and the United States, both men and women.
So if you could sum up your career in one word, what would it be?
Exciting.
There you have it, everyone. I'm Laurentia Smith for Bahamas Athletics Today. Mike Sands sums up his career, exciting.
Bahamas Athletics is proudly sponsored by T-Bird Flyers. Quitting is not an option. Established in 1983. Red Line Athletics. Champions are not born, they are made. Stone Arch Sports Management. Built to win. Star Trackers. Track and Field Club. Trackers make it look so easy. And Proactive Chiropractic and Wellness Center.